about the GDP growth, how it reflects the everyday Nigeria. Because inflation is one thing. You've mentioned inflation, how it has, gone up rebates as much as possible. But the living condition of Nigerians is still on the high side. I mean, purchasing power is low. The living cost as well too is a big time challenge. Get onto the market, individuals struggle to buy foodstuffs, housing items. These are issues. So how does this GDP growth actually translate to purchasing power to the everyday Nigerian?
Okay, let's start from here. The first thing is your sovereign rate at 27% will not allow space for lending to the real sector, to the manufacturers and all that. And that's where you expect that when those guys expand, there will be more job creation, there will be more per capita income, more households will benefit from the economic, prosperity and all that. But the 27% is actually meant to create stability for Nigeria. So it's a haven for yield-seeking foreign investors to come to Nigeria. And that has impacted our foreign reserve. We've had a lot of stability and increment. But what do we do? Because what do we do? I think the CBN and the fiscal money side of the economy, the Minister of Finance and all of that, they should find a way to create a balance between that rate and lending rate. And we see that most of our financial institutions in Nigeria are actually doing portfolio business, buying financial instruments and all that. They are not really pumping the money into the economy. Because look at it, the policy of government is speaking in that direction, but the activities, the reality on ground is actually contrary to it. Look at the banking recapitalization now. It's expected to boost economic growth. Look at the pension industry recapitalization now. That is also targeted at infrastructure development. Look at the insurance recapitalization now. All of this ongoing. The essence of this is such that, okay, we will have improved infrastructural development and create more lending for the SMEs or MSMEs in the economy. But we just hope that these policies will have greater impact on Nigeria.
But look at the sectors that are actually helping to drive the growth of the economy of the nation, and also some of the sectors that are dragging the economy down. Agriculture, we see that agriculture, according to NBS as well, in quarter 3 of 2025, agriculture grew by 3.79%, industry grew by 3.77%. Share with us which of these sectors really are helping to drive the economy of our nation, and which of the sectors as well are helping to drag or weaken the economy of the nation.
So the good story for Nigeria is that the non-oil sector contributed far more to the GDP growth this time around than the oil sector. And cumulatively, I think the non-oil sector contributed around 94 or 96% to the GDP growth, while the oil sector just had patchy 4 to 5% to the GDP growth. And in that non-oil sector, agri and the services, the fintech, the mobile bank and all of that happen to be the major players in that sector. So, and despite the huge insecurity we are experiencing in the economy and a whole lot of issues around agri, we can see that the sector still give Nigerians hope that our non-oil performance could become the mainstay of our economy.
Yeah. Let's do a quick comparison between Nigeria and some other African countries, right? Egypt, for instance. We said that Egypt, their GDP is actually growing at about 5%.
Yeah.
South Africa is struggling as well with between 1.1% to 1.5% on their GDP growth. Yeah. You've spoken a little bit to the question anyways, but you might want to expand on it. For South Africa, which is also one of the giant countries in Africa, struggling within 1.1% and 1.1%. Nigeria is at 3.9. First, what can we do differently not to get into that stagnated point of our GDP growth, our economic growth, like South Africa is struggling with? And secondly, what can we also do or learn from Egypt that are also growing? The economy is rebounding with so much strength, 5% projected growth, while Nigeria is at 3.9%. What lesson can we learn from Egypt? And what can we also learn not to do the same with South Africa to ensure that Nigeria's growth, is seen visibly?
Thank you. What can we do to avoid stunted GDP growth? And that's one of the things that a whole lot that we can do. And this government, I think they are in the right. They have taken the bull by the horn. They are doing that in the right direction. And one of it is this recapitalization that we are talking about. Be focused on infrastructural development. Because what does it profit you to make a bumper harvest, and you are not able to transport it from the rural area to the urban area, and then in fact create a storage infrastructure that could also ensure that these products are fresh for export. So that increase your revenue power. It, you know, puts the producers, the farmers now at prosperity position.